Hello, and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 166. We're just going to be honest. We're talking about Redfall. We're talking about Xbox, the chaos that's happening, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom week is finally here. We're going to just label this like chaos in the gaming industry. So, with me, Seb, and always this week joined by Bobby himself, the return of the prodigal son. Bobby is here with me today. The OG Tom to my OG George. How's it going today, Bobby?
What's going on, bro? Everything's good. How about you?
It's going well. It's going well.
Good to be back.
Yeah, welcome back. What's it been like being on the international circuit, traveling the world, working hard, living the I guess you could say the world's most interesting man lifestyle. What's that like?
It's just tiring.
It's just
tiring. It's just you want to do things and you just can't because you're limited by time. And really, after so many hours of working, you just try to do anything, and then you just take a nap and fall asleep and do it all again.
Okay. So the secret of being the world's most interesting man is just taking the naps.
It's just taking that little. Listen, if you get a power nap somewhere, you can get the energy to do something because it's busy, bro.
I feel you. So you know what else is busy? Video games. And that brings me up to the question that we always ask, Bobby, what have you been playing?
Well, to be honest, I finished Hogwarts Legacy, got the platinum.
Okay. Revelio, I remember you.
Revelio, everything. There was a glitch that I thought was gonna break my trophy, but you didn't need it for the trophy. It was just 100% collection.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God I did not worry about it. So I got the trophy, I got the platinum. I enjoyed the game, but I started to obviously I've said before, it's very repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, the storyline just falls flat. So if you are a Harry Potter fan and you enjoy the Harry Potter world, I'm sure there's lots of stuff they made mistakes on. Talking to other friends who've played it, come from the outside of Harry Potter. I know a little bit about it, but I enjoyed it enough for what it was. I just thought the main story was just pretty basic. I never felt like my character was in danger or anything was going to happen at all. So, typical ending of a game. I would give it a hard 7 out of 10.
Oh
Like
wow!
I enjoyed it. I don't think it was a bad game. I think they could have did more things. They could have done more to the game. But I guess it is what it is. It's limitations, whatever. If there's a sequel, hopefully they can implement what they wanted to fix it correctly. But it wasn't a bad game. I enjoyed it. I think I did like 60 hours total.
Okay.
So it's pretty long. Then I played this game called Beholder.
Beholder.
It was all I had it on my wish list. I mean, it was cheap. It was like $10, but I got it for like $4.99. Basically old school NES Sega style platformer.
Okay.
So it was pretty challenging. It was a 2D platformer. You look a character like Conan Barbarian, and you get different items to continue your journey. So there's some backtracking, not like Metroidvania style, but a little bit of backtracking. Definitely, it was challenging. It wasn't easy. I thought it'd be a little bit easier, but it wasn't, and I actually really enjoyed it. And then I put another game called Space Like Roguelike, something like that. A Space Roguelike Adventure, I think it was called. I really enjoyed that. A lot of levels, a lot of action, a lot of 80s style levels, bosses. Brings you back to like all the pop references of the 80s.
Oh, that sounds cool.
There's like a Mad Max costume. There's a lightsaber, all types of things like that in the game. I really enjoyed that one too. And then I played and just some other like regular games I had that was cheap just to get out of the Harry Potter, just get something done. And now I started playing Jedi Survivor.
Okay.
So far, so good. Maybe 10 hours in. Really like it.
All right. So are you, as a licensed game, are you enjoying Jedi Survivor more than Hogwarts Legacy?
Yeah, like I'm not like a huge Star Wars fan. Like I know enough about it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the eighth movie and then I just stopped watching them because I didn't enjoy it. So this is the ninth movie. Didn't know how it ends. Don't care. But I've always liked Star Wars. I just didn't like that this new trilogy.
Okay.
Didn't watch Mandalorian. Didn't watch anything else like that. But I just liked the original game. That was really good. So the sequels here so far so good. Can't complain. That's pretty much what I've been playing. What about
Okay.
you?
A lot of the same. I think you were a lot warmer on Hogwarts Legacy than the rest of the guys here. I think like the rest of the three merry men, we didn't really. It kind of plateaued on us really fast. So it's interesting to hear your I guess you could say your viewpoint in comparison to ours. And I think that's a really intriguing premise to where you as a person who's a outside looking in Harry Potter fan versus the rest of us, like enjoyed this immensely more. And you'd think it would be the opposite, like that. As a Harry Potter fan, this would probably be the dream game. It just kind of didn't pan out that way. I think that's really intriguing. And then I also Jedi Survivor. I've been jumping in on that one a little bit. Played a little FIFA. It kind of was in the mood to see I've been doing an experiment lately. I've been trying to see what sports game is actually the best premium sports game on the market. So I played
Hmm.
a little bit of the latest FIFA. I played for the last past month or so. I've been playing a little of the show, and then I play 2K kind of regularly. It's kind of my chill and relax kind of game. And then I played a couple of other games, sports games, trying to see what was the most premier like sports game. I don't think FIFA's on the list, if I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there's a little like I feel like they get a little lazy with the career mode for my liking as far as like the
Oh,
overall.
definitely
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of brings the overall mystique of the game down a little bit in comparison to how some of the other career modes are treated in sports games. But I digress. I've been playing that, and I've been playing a lot of indies lately. I guess that's sort of my gimmick here on the show. But I've been playing a cozy game by the name of Coffee Talk Episode 2. For all you cozy game fans out there that like games with a strong narrative, this one is right amongst that kind of breed. I've been playing a game called Hunt the Night, which is like a 2D version of like The Witcher 3 meets like Dark Souls. I've been playing that a
Really?
little bit. Yeah, it is really good. It's if you like games kind of like with Hades kind of gameplay, but you also kind of like the customization and the freeness of like The Witcher, but the toughness of Dark Souls. I definitely recommend
Oh,
giving
wow.
this one a
Okay.
try. Yeah, yeah. It's don't get me wrong. Like I said, it has the toughness of a Dark Souls game. It's gonna kick its teeth down. Like it's gonna kick your teeth down your throat. Like for sure, it comes for blood. But yeah, that one's a bit interesting. And then yeah, I've been playing a couple of games for review. Yeah, those are embargoed information, so we'll talk about those as they kind of come out. But like, yeah, it's been a fun time in gaming. This it sort of feels like we had like a quiet lull a little bit, but like a little bit in the industry, and now everything's sort of like really ramp up. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. So, we've been playing a couple of games here, but that hasn't necessarily stopped the news of gaming from keeping from like commencing. It's been a wild week. Have you been keeping up with everything?
Oh, yeah, here and there. Yeah, I've been reading some stuff, um, mostly about Redfall,
Yeah, and
basically.
yeah, that's a good segue because it is time for the news. We've scourged the darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, no more graffiti. Do you want to take the first news story, Bobby?
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right.
If I say anything wrong, my man on my phone, we have some technical issues. But here we
Okay.
go. No more graffiti. Concrete Genie team Pixel Opus, which first party developer, part of PlayStation Studios, has put out a tweet saying it's been closed down. The post reads, "Dear friends, our Pixel Opus adventure has come to an end. As we look to new future, we wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the millions of passionate players who have supported us and our mission to make a beautiful, imaginative games with heart. We are so grateful. In a statement to IGN, Sony confirmed that Pixel Opus will be shuttered on June 2nd, 2023. Sony said PlayStation Studios regularly evaluates portfolios and the status of studio projects to ensure that they meet the organization's short and long-term strategic objectives. As part of a recent review process, it has been decided that Pixel Opus will close on June 2nd. In June 2021, Pixel Opus has been hiring for a new PS5 game built in collaboration with Sony Pictures Animation on Unreal Engine 5. This led to much speculation over what the project could be, with fans dreaming of a tie-in title with the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movies. It no longer looks like that experience will come to fruition. Pixel Opus has released Entwined, and has never been particularly large developer with Sony in terms of how many employees it has. Still, Concrete Genie was one of PS4's most unique experiences, and will also be felt on PS5. Senior environment artist Bob Arkelbog, bold,
I
I
like
guess
the
that's not
name.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, I like to think that Concrete Genie, we made the world an ever so slightly better place, and not too many games these days have a chance to try and do that. I will always be grateful for my time building imaginative worlds and this incredible team. That is kind of sad. I did actually enjoy Concrete Genie.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It was a pretty game. It was a unique concept, and like we're kind of missing that in the games
Hmm.
industry, to where like these really pretty games with these cool concepts that kind of like showcases what a team can do if they're like free to kind of do their own thing and see their own vision. And I hate that the gamble kind of didn't pay off for them if you look at the grand
Yeah,
scheme of things. I really do hate that. I want to, before we begin, really diving deep on this story, I do want to say we did miss one news story. It wasn't on the docket today. You're hearing our voices, the American UCP office's voices, because, due to some circumstances around the world, the coronation and everything like that, the, the UK office basically decided, we're closing up shop for the week.
yeah.
I didn't Bobby, did you know that this is a holiday? The big coronation of the new monarch?
No, I did not know it was a holiday. However, I do appreciate that George sent an email to us, letting us know that it's closed down.
Yeah.
We got an email, which is nice. I like it. Text has been fine, but the email made it seem like this is an official holiday.
Yeah, I don't
Put
know
some
if
weight
this is
behind it.
yeah, I don't know if this is an official holiday with some weight behind it. It makes me wonder, what are these gents doing? Like we
Yeah,
will
man.
the American office, I don't think we would shut down for a new president, like
No.
I don't think that. So I think this might be them taking the day off, enjoying their counterfeit nappies. What else they do? Drink tea over there,
Yeah, tea. Yeah.
yeah.
Which, listen, I mean, when I was over there, I guess I enjoyed it because I was there.
Hmm.
However, haven't had tea since. Don't ever plan to.
No, we
Um,
have good taste buds in America. We don't drink
yeah,
tea.
we have amazing things over here.
Yeah,
I just think because in America we don't really get holidays like that,
no,
and sometimes depending where you work, the holiday doesn't mean anything.
no, mm-mm. No.
Oh,
You
the
still have
holiday,
to go to
great.
work.
See you tomorrow.
We talk about Columbus Day all the time. Still got to go to work.
So gotta go. Yeah, it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, man, it's crazy. Labor Day, certain businesses are still open.
Yeah, so I it makes me wonder, what are these guys doing? It
I don't know.
makes me
I can only
wonder.
imagine.
Eh,
Unless maybe they had certain people, come to the gamer shed,
Yeah, yeah,
RPT's gamer shed. And since
yeah.
we're too far away, we can't go there.
I mean, they only got one hit show over there. It's like, and that's Ted Lasso. What else can they possibly doing? They can't be watching anything.
No, no, I'm not sure. Interesting.
Uh-uh. Yeah, yeah. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're getting back to the news story. Our main news story concerning Concrete Genie. I hate to hear that. I really hate to hear that they're closing up shop. They put out a really solid good game in Concrete Genie. Pixel Opus was a studio that I was hoping to see more out of. Bobby, like, what do you think of this news story?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you like video games, podcasts, and reminiscing? I'm actor, video game writer, and total sweetie pie Connor Savage McCabe, and on each episode of Call Me By Your Game, I sit down with a guest for an intimate look at a special game from their past. Did you and your dad beat Spyro the Dragon over the holidays? Or was Halo 4 the one thing that united your roommates during your senior year of college? Stories like these are what Call Me By Your Game is about. From video game content creator Janet Garcia to Hades voice actor Courtney Vinay's, I interview wonderful comedians and game industry friends about these memories. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe someday you'll call me by your game.
I mean, it's sad they closed down. I feel like they only had the one game.
Yeah.
Not every studio's going to pump out games left and right, but at a time where most games are like, hardened or, maybe R-rated, tough, this was a more lighthearted experience. It had some, there was like some bullying undertones, trying to make the world better, I guess, in this little narrative there, which I enjoyed. I played it way after release because it was a free PS Plus title, I believe.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I wish I would have played it on release because I liked it. I would have played it again, but definitely a unique experience. It's sad they didn't make anything else.
Yeah.
Well, didn't get a chance to.
So what do you think of the news that, like it was rumored they were working on a Into the Spider-Verse type of game? Would that be something that interest you personally?
Yeah, because if they were going to go with that kind of art style from the film and didn't have to necessarily do anything with Sony Spider-Man, would have been pretty interesting to see what they could have done. Because they could have took basically anything from the Spider-Man universe from all eras and made a game out of it, which would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that would have been very unique. I would have loved to see what that looked like and total. And I would have loved to see what that gameplay looked like. Would have been something very similar to what we've gotten with Marvel's Spider-Man on the PS4 and the PS5, or would this have been a brand new unique story experience? Would have been something like the Telltale games, perhaps, where it's more like narrative focus based and you kind of like making your own decisions. I would have loved to at least maybe get a trailer to kind of see what kind of direction they were going in,
Yeah.
Yeah, and as always, we hope that the people who are unfortunately getting laid off by these circumstances land on their feet and find new roles in the industry really fast. We are very much lacking in the industry on the creative side of the fence, especially if, the writer strike maybe affects the games industry. So we hope the best for everyone over there. We hope you find some new gigs in the industry very soon. So,
yeah.
With that said, let's move on to the second news story of the day. It is concerning all about Xbox. I will take this one. Even Uncle Phil is confused. As you may have already seen, Xbox big boss Phil Spencer has earlier today taken part in a very candid interview. Well, not today, ladies and gentlemen. This was written earlier this week, but earlier this week, he took part in a very candid interview with Kinda Funny XCast crew over on youtube.com/kindafunny. And we're still very much into Redfall, as we're still very much into Redfall's launch this week. The game was, of course, a hot topic of the show, and its release was discussed at length. When asked about the state of Arcane Shooter at launch, Phil tackled the topic head on, going as far as to say that he is personally upset by some of the reactions he's seen so far. There's nothing that's more difficult for me than disappointing the Xbox community. This is Phil Spencer, by the way, and this is my Phil Spencer voice. Y'all can let me know how I did in the comments. I've been a part of it for a long time. I've obviously worked on Xbox as head of Xbox. I had a lot of friends get a lot of feedback and just kind of watch the community lose confidence, be disappointed. I'm disappointed, but I'm upset with myself in Uncle Phil's rant. Phil goes on to reiterate that the critical response was not what we wanted and that the team is disappointed by the launch reception of Redfall. I think, oh, here's my Uncle Phil voice again. I think back to the announcement of 60 frames per second, and then we weren't shipping for 60 frames per second. And that was kind of our punch in the chin, rightfully a couple of weeks ago. And then seeing the game come out and the critical response was not what we wanted. It's disappointing. You kind of pick up and you kind of pick my eyes. So kind of pick up myself up. And can we learn? How can we get better? The head of Xbox has gone as far as saying that Xbox needs to improve its development process after what happened here. So it's safe to say that Redfall will probably be used as a case study for Microsoft for years and years to come. At least there seems to be a good selection of games coming to the platform real soon, as reiterated by Xbox boss earlier this week. So, Bobby, let's dive into this news story. This is probably the hottest news story in games right now. Redfall came out, and let's just be honest. Let's just be brash here. That's kind of what the American UCP office does. It was a stinker. It came out.
Yeah,
It laid an egg. It is not a great game to most people. What did you get a chance to play Redfall, and what do you think of this news?
no, I didn't get a chance to play Redfall. My brother was playing it. I watched him uh play some gameplay. It just seems like, first of all, a couple things. He was killing some vampires
Hmm.
and then looking for some item, and then the vampires he killed kind of came back into frame. So
Hmm.
like they weren't there in front of him, but when he went to the side, they were still there, and then they came back to life. So he had to kill them again, but they didn't move; they were frozen. Um, he showed me that you can't shoot the glass in the cars. Environmental doesn't really break. Um, there was some slowdown, but and then he didn't play the multiplayer um aspect. Just whatever he was showing me. I'm not sure what it was, but
Okay.
other clips from other people on internet, YouTube, people who I watch on all the time when I'm at work, they also have the same kind of issues. So it's pretty much like Cyberpunk all over again, just like unfinished, unpolished release, which seems to be happening all the time. There was even issues with Jedi Survivor apparently in this first week. They did an update or something. There was some things that had to fine tune.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
understand why they just can't just release it fixed. Like what is this rush to release a game that's so important?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into that sort of decision. I believe a lot of it is investors and such like that who push games out because they want a solid return on the quarter and on their quarterly investments. So I believe that that's a lot of what kind of goes into play with decisions like these. Unfortunately, like video gamers and the people are the people who suffer for those type of decisions more often than not, and that really is a shame because like we're in an industry in the entertainment industry to where our dollars probably should matter a little bit more than just the investors at this point. But it's unfortunate. It is what it is kind of scenario. But I digress. Was Redfall a game that you were going to play anyways, even if this was came out and it was a solid hit?
I mean, I was interested in the concept of it, but was I really going to play it? To be honest, not really. But it looked cool. I had like the vibe. I was like, oh, this could be really good for to play. And now I'm like, nah, I'm not interested really.
Yeah. Yeah, because I would probably go out on a limb and say that you're the UCP multiplayer expert. Like while you do play a lot of single player based games, I know that Elden Ring in particular was a game that you experienced a lot of like
A lot,
a lot
400 hours, 400
yeah.
hours, a
Uh,
lot.
you experienced a lot as in the community. You were knee deep with your friends and family playing, exploring the lands between and really diving deep into Elden Ring. So,
I mean, even Gotham Knights, like, I
yeah,
mean, it was cool because me and my brother had it. We played it together. So our experience together made the game bearable. But if I was
yeah,
playing this as a single player, like I would be upset. Like
yeah,
this is what you released, and I'm playing with my friend and it's broken.
yeah. I
Like it
think
was
that's the
broken.
That's the general reception. Me as a gamer, I wasn't really looking forward to Redfall. I kind of had like my suspicions about this game. I think I talked about it on the show in general. Like the way they showed this game off, for the last like couple of months, something never really clicked with me with this. It was a lot of it had to do with like just the general messaging that we as gamers didn't necessarily know what Redfall was. Like some people could probably speculate that Redfall was going to be a Back for Blood, Left for Dead type of experience, while other people were talking about it was, hey, Left for Dead is probably a Fallout type of experience. This game was also marketed as a multiplayer game that you could also play single player. And you who mentioned Gotham Knights earlier, like you can probably attest to this just as well as I can. It seems like games that kind of try to be both don't really work very well. Like you kind of
It's
have to
very
pick.
hard.
Yeah, you kind of for the
You
most part you have to pick a lane and stick to it.
Mhm.
And Elden Ring is one of those like few exceptions to the rule. I would probably say more often than not. Like, and even then, I'm like a lot of people did not play that as a multiplayer game. A lot of people just explored the lands between as a single player
solo
experience.
adventure,
Yeah.
which
So
works well also.
yeah. So it's curious that like I don't necessarily know what the lessons to be learned is because like this doesn't feel like it's an isolated incident for Xbox. Like if you look at what happened with Halo Infinite, Halo Infinite didn't come out as a buggy mess, but it came out lacking a lot of the features people requested at launch. It didn't have the Forge mode that we expected from Halo. It didn't necessarily have the co-op campaign that was promised. The game's roadmap as far as the multiplayer was very lacking and very
Yep.
unfulfilled. Like other than Forza Motorsport, like they really have been a little behind this generation as far as like releasing titles in general. And I think the cadence of which they've been dropping games have kind of like I'll be honest, like I feel like Xbox gamers' patience are starting to expire, and I feel like that's a negative part of like the communication. They came out and had a showing. I believe it was almost a year ago to this day, or if not very close to it, that they came out with the Xbox showcase and they said, hey, like all of our games are going to release that we're showing today are going to be releasing 12 months from now, and most of those games didn't make the cut. Like most of those didn't come out within those 12 months. So that was another thing that just didn't click. So what do you feel about the state of Xbox right now, Bobby?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I don't really know. Um, like I know the Game Pass is its thing, and there's lots of there's some good to come out of the Game Pass. Obviously, it's just all the games you can get for the price of the monthly price. But like, what really is there for a non-Xbox gamer to grab onto and play? Like, what is their top 10 games that's there to play? Like, I haven't really seen an Xbox game, but people talking about an Xbox game. Like my friends at work, they don't mention Xbox games. It's only like either third party games or PlayStation games that have been released, no, solely on PlayStation. So like I don't see something that someone would say, "Hey, go get a Game Pass because this game is hot right now and play this and play that." I mean, mostly third party games, yes. If you want to save some money and you're playing with your friends, basically everything that's popular is crossover. So I don't have to necessarily buy the game, but some of those games are also free or have been free at some point and you already own. So unless we're all waiting for Starfield to come out, and that's what happens if that game is not 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
What is going to happen? Like we're
yeah.
all waiting for that to come out because to me, I'm not an Xbox hater. It's just like I haven't seen a reason for me to purchase the Game Pass.
Okay.
Like what is there? What is out there to play? I'm sure there are good games because they have several, different genres to play. But like, what is out there that's solely an Xbox exclusive experience?
I think you're right on the head, and I think you hit the nail right on the head there. I think like whether or not gamers want to admit it, especially in this ecosystem, like exclusives do matter in this world that we live in. Like I know a lot of people, say the console race is dead and such like that. But like, let's be honest here. Let's call a spade a spade. Like in the every industry, there's competition in every single industry. If we were talking about cars right now, sure, like Toyota's not necessarily 1v1 competing with Prius, but like they are competing for market share, for like it's capitalism. They're in competition. Like Toyota would love to be the number one car company in the world, just like Xbox would probably love to be the number one video game manufacturer in the world. So yeah, it's one of those things to where like I'm not trying to champion one company over the other, but I will say like, yeah, it's been rough for Xbox. It's completely been
Like
rough.
it kind of reminded me like back in the day when I was a kid growing up in the 90s, you had WWF.
Yeah.
They were doing its thing and they were killing WCW, right? So maybe let's say WWF was kind of like Super Nintendo, just killing the game, and Sega was WCW. All of a sudden, WCW had NWO, they had Hulk Hogan come back, they had Macho Man over there, and their views started to get more than WWF. Because at one point, Sega kind of beat Nintendo, if I guess money wise, but at least they both had really good games to compare. But the Super Nintendo was just the number one. And then what happened? Little by little, WWF got their groove back. They took back over their ratings. And then eventually, WCW was bought by WWF. Okay? Now, there's no more competition because it's the same company. And if you want to watch wrestling, well, you have this only option, right?
Yeah.
So if there is no competition for video games or anything to go back and forth on, because how am I going to be better than you? Or how can I make a game better than this come out? And there's competition, then there's not going to be a great game debate. Then it'll kind of get stale. Like, I love PlayStation, but a lot of their games are single player narrative stories. Eventually, that can get quite boring because all you're going to release is single player solo experience stories, which are nice, but let's do something else. But there's nothing else for them to do. I feel like that's what they're stuck on, and I guess that's their thing. That's fine. But what happens if Xbox starts to make single player experiences, and now they have a catalog of games that take you down that road, and it's on Game Pass. Now, why would I spend all this money on a PlayStation game when Xbox can offer the same experience for a monthly fee?
Yeah,
right?
I think that's what Xbox
Something
is
has
trying
to
to
happen.
achieve. Yeah,
something has to happen where they can go back head to head. Sales wise, I don't have a computer in front of me. I don't know what's killing it right now, but Xbox needs to figure something out right now because Nintendo's its own thing. Nintendo will always be Nintendo, and they have their own people and their own fans, and they could release a game that was released in 1982 and just repackage it, and people are going to buy it. It doesn't matter.
1982.
I don't think Sony or Xbox can do that. Right? It's like they just not because people will probably already have it. So I don't know. Let's see. Like you need competition, and competition is good for everybody because without it, things get stale.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And it's interesting you brought that up. I'm one of those people who have long since been in the Xbox ecosystem. I do own all consoles, but like I've been a little bit discouraged by the constant promise of like wait till next year, like we're gonna get everything on track next year. And I'm starting to it's one of those things to where, yeah, you're right, Xbox is my Game Pass machine, so to speak. I basically play that for the occasional third party games if I am doing review access through the Xbox ecosystem, or I'm playing a Game Pass game. I rarely buy first. I rarely look forward to first party Xbox games. It's more so I'm like curious more so than it is like, oh, like Halo Infinite's my most anticipated game. I'm like, that's not the case, and it's a little bit more so about the narrative that's been around Xbox. It seems like with every major first party game outside of the Forza series, there's always a controversy. Why doesn't this game run at 30 FPS? Why is this game at 30 FPS? Oh, this game's been delayed like 6 times. Or like, oh, this game has, like we were promised like 2 features. We're not going to get any of those 2 features. It's one of those things like if someone keeps lying to you, or at least like keeps pushing that narrative down the road, kicking the can down the road on you over and over again, you kind of get tired of it. You kind of fatigue out on hearing the excuses. You kind of want to see a return on your investment for a lot of Xbox gamers, especially like gaming is an expensive hobby. It can be, especially when games are $70 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
I
like,
mean, if you think about it, though, technically, games are much cheaper than they were back then.
yeah, due to the environment
But
that we
still,
live in. But yeah.
I'm putting 70, $80 into a game, and this is it.
Yeah, and think about it like this. Like I know Redfall is a Game Pass game. A lot of people are associating with that on Game Pass, but this also retails for people who don't have Game Pass as a $70 purchase. This, like if you didn't have Game Pass and you still wanted to play Redfall, they still charge you $70 to play this game. And
And then you'd be livid.
oh man, I'd be hot right now. They'd have to
Yeah,
somebody'd have to
yeah.
see me about this. Yeah, like somebody would have to see me in the streets
Yeah,
about
no,
this.
this is not good. Yeah, it's not good.
No, for sure not. For sure not.
It
And
reminds me, like, maybe not as controversial or issue, but same thing as Cyberpunk when it was released.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just to like you don't get it. You obviously you haven't learned, because it's not the first time this has happened at all.
No, no. And
And I'm sure it'll happen again.
to Cyberpunk credit, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Wow, he's defending Cyberpunk here." Like to Cyberpunk's credit, at least that had a cool vision behind it. Like Cyberpunk felt like it was swinging for the fences, and they just like they put out a game way before it was ready, way before.
Yeah, way before.
Redfall, yeah, way before it was ready. Redfall feels like a game that even if they had another year, like I don't necessarily know if people wanted to play this type of game, if I'm being honest. Like, like I don't think people wanted to play. I think the vampire thing was interesting, but I don't think people wanted to play a hybrid single player multiplayer experience that didn't necessarily have a big nuanced story behind it. I think for a lot of single player gamers out there, like you want either a game with like amazing gameplay, or you want a game to where you're really experiencing the story and really getting lost in like the characters that you're investing in. This game was never about characters. Like that's not the whole
No,
point of this
no, no.
game. So I'm like, I don't necessarily know if there was a win-win situation for this game.
This was probably like going to be like a typical grab a buddy co-op shooter.
Exactly.
Have a good time with it for a couple hours, and then what's next?
Exactly. So that makes me wonder, like, I think it's more of the creative vision behind Redfall. And I think like it wouldn't have mattered if like Redfall was like a graphical showcase, and it wouldn't have mattered if like the everything turned out okay with like the bugs or anything like that. I think the creative vision of this game is something that people just didn't necessarily click with. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah, so I'm curious on where Redfall goes from here. If you're the big boss of like Xbox, though, what would you do, Bobby?
Listen, take Redfall. It is what it is, right? So,
Mhm.
what are you gonna do? Nothing you can do about it. If I was Phil, I would try to get some studio, get somebody, right? Start making some single player experiences only. Then get some kind of co-op game, whether it's top down or first person shooter or whatever, to get fans interested into playing together into a game, so you can keep using your Xbox, right? You
Mhm.
have to try to do both. This hybrid thing, I don't think it's going to work. Or showcase some of the older games, maybe that have been remastered or something, to get people back on the system. And then, like, I would just stop having a date. Like, okay, what is the date in our chalkboard. Okay, August 10th. Okay, August 10th comes around. Let's pretend it's August 10th. We're not going to release the game. It's not ready. Let's do a really good quality testing of what we want. What do we want? Is this a good game to release? Then release it. If it's not a good game to release it, we just put to be released at fourth quarter. Like get it ready, get it fixed. Like don't have another disaster release because you can't. And if we're only putting our eggs in one basket and we're all waiting for Starfield, and this game doesn't come at you and uppercut you in the jaw from the first moment you start playing it, then we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
I would try to avoid that at all costs.
So, did you watch this interview with Phil Spencer and everything? The kind of funny XCast interview?
No, I did not watch it. No.
Okay, so some of the things you mentioned just now were kind of like touched on in the interview. Like they asked him why he put out a game like this, what goes into delaying like games and such like that. The decisions there, like interesting enough, like he said they had like mock reviews where they brought in people, where they brought in like their mock review process. They thought this game was going to be almost double digit higher review scores than what it ended up being. So that makes me feel like there was either a disconnect, like somebody either lied to their faces and told them what they
Yeah.
wanted to hear, or they need a new system in trying to figure out like their like first of all their preemptive review process probably needs a little work, and then I think like it also makes me feel like they need more careful game plans as far as like you're saying, like figure out a cadence and figure out like a system behind it. And the crazy thing about it is like during that interview, he also said like he was very hands off with this game. Like he wanted Arcane, like our Arcane Austin to basically have their vision, see their vision through, and they basically, like were a lot more hands off with this than they're being with Starfield. On Starfield, he
Mhm.
feels like it's all hands on deck. Like a lot of input, a lot of like other teams are throwing their input and helpfulness around this project. Do you feel like like I'm all for like letting studios be creative and everything like that. Do you feel like there needs to be a balance though between like, hey, like Arcane Austin is really good at Dishonored and stealth games and single player stealth games like Dishonored? Do you feel like he probably should have made them do another game of that ilk, or do you feel like it's interesting because we just talked about Concrete Genie. They were free to
Mhm.
almost do their own thing, explore their own creative vision, and now they're unfortunately closing up shop. Like, do you think he should have probably like reined them in and made them kind of stick to what you know, or do you feel like there needs to be that show your creative like flex, like basically show your creativity?
Well, no, because I think that to grow as a company, no matter what you are, sometimes you gotta try different things to get you out of your own little box. But listen, if you're really good with something, obviously continue to do it. But to grow, you gotta try something else. And if that
Okay.
fails, that's okay because you learn from it and you try again. But you'll always have that underneath, like, okay, I'm always good at this, so we're gonna continue doing this, but let's try this, let's try that. And eventually now you all of a sudden you have, oh, I need more employees, I need to do two things. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But as a boss, like for my example, in a hotel, right? So I'm in the engineering maintenance. Let's say we have an issue with a leak and the room is damaged. And my boss is like, oh, how long, how many days? I'm never going to say 2 days, 1 day. We'll get it done tomorrow. I'm going to tell her like 3, 4 days. Because in her mind, she doesn't really know what's going on, but she trusts me. So now I have my team and I'm like, okay, guys, we have to do X, Y, Z. Try to get it done. Maybe it's 2, 3 days into work. I trust my guys to get the job done. But since I have to respond to my boss, yeah, maybe I might not babysit them, but I'm gonna go check on how the work is being done. And if they're done early, great. We release the room. Everyone looks like a hero. We got it done before the day of. But if it's not done on that day, then I have reasons. Well, this room's not ready today, even though I told you because X, Y, Z. So there has to be some kind of quality control, regardless of if you trust the team or not. So if you're not going to be really hands on, like I'm not saying micromanage, but if you're not going to be hands on, or just see what's good the process is going through, then you're going to expect another result like this. You have to be somewhat involved, whether it is what it is. Listen, if you want them to rock out with this game, that's fine. And that's their division, that's fine. But go check them out. Like, hey, what are we up to? What are the steps? How's it looking so far? Oh, you want to do this? It's not. That's fine. That's great. It's your game, no problem. But check on them, see what's going on, because obviously nobody checked on them. And whoever they're hiring to do the the uh, the gameplay, I mean, yeah, you got to do something else. That's not working for you. They straight up lied to you,
Yeah,
big time.
yeah. Like we do have another news story, but this is the big one of the week. Like in the grand scheme of things, this feels like what matters in the gaming industry right now.
Yeah,
Another
just
thing.
because just before I logged on, well, on the Google, when I put up Google,
Mhm.
that one of the first news stories was like, Redfall has lost almost half its players on PC.
Yeah.
So like they're already dropping. And you can't really save this because it's not one of those games that, like you said, like a Cyberpunk where you want to play, where you're invested into it, you want to see it out. It's like, you know what? I'll just play Halo.
The
The
crazy
hell.
thing is like you say that and then like I mean you kind of have that same kind of opinion, but feel like during that interview with Kind of Funny, he said they're going to put more time and resources into Redfall and trying to make this game as good as it possibly can be. Which makes me feel like I'm like you. I think you should cut bait on Redfall. I feel like this is an IP that, if somebody wants to see how bad of a game they can possibly like see on Game Pass, they can check it out. It's on Game Pass. You can check it out and see for yourself. Maybe you can fix some of the bugs here and there like that. I would probably hire an outside team to fix the bugs, and I get Arcane Austin like started on a new project ASAP.
Mhm.
Like I'd be like, hey, y'all got your creative project out of the way. Let's get started with like another stealth game. If I'm being
Mhm.
honest, like
No, yeah, that's definitely true. Get them
I
back on track, get the positivity back in the team to
yeah.
release something else. Like, don't let this be their downfall. They're smacking the hand. Listen, you made a mistake. It didn't work out. Move on. You got to move on fast.
Oh
You
yeah,
can't
for
dwell
sure.
on it.
For sure. And that would be my whole thing. I'd be like, man, like, hey, we tried something new, it didn't work out, like you win some, you lose some. Now let's bounce back. Let's figure out something new to kind of work on and such like that. I know like you said, you kind of have to trust your guys, but you also kind of have to be on top of things. It's kind of like being a boss in any industry. You kind of have to learn how to juggle that. Do you
Mhm.
think Phil Spencer maybe needs to kind of like figure out a roadmap and kind of be a little bit more hands-on with like these studios?
I mean, if he's gonna be the big boss, and obviously he can't be everywhere at once,
No, for sure
but
not.
then you can hire somebody or delegate like a director for each game coming out to give you their input on what they're seeing, and then make the time to go and check it out based on what they're saying. Because if someone's saying, "Oh, everything is fine, everything is fine, everything is fine," really? Let me go check it out. Maybe I
Mm.
won't spend as much time, but I want to see what everything is fine means. And if this guy's saying this game is a mess, then you got to go over there and handle that immediately because you cannot be everywhere at once. He's doing a lot, right? I'm sure it's a lot. Like in my own world, my boss, she's in charge of like, she has two buildings. She's in charge of like 9 departments. There's no way she could be everywhere at once.
No,
So
no.
she might trust more departments than others, but she still follows up, even if it's just a 10-minute phone call to see what's going on. And that's, I think, what he has to be more involved in. Like, get get some directors or help for each individual studio you want to have to oversee, and then respond, and then feed and get their feedback, and then go test it out.
And he's also probably spread, like you're saying, spread thin in a lot of different ways because like,
Super spread thin.
oh yeah, because I mean, think about the acquisitions that they're making as well, like that they're trying with
And the
the
headaches that
activation.
Sony's giving them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And now
I
like,
mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to do with.
yeah, I'm like, so there's a lot going on there. I would,
And listen, he has like a vision. Like he wants to get Xbox in everybody's house because he wants everyone to get to play video games. And I
I love
appreciate
that.
that.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
that's a great vision to have. And he has a vision. I don't think it's that like, I think his vision isn't so ridiculous. I think it's an actual vision. It can happen. He has a goal. I think it's achievable. But if he's spreading himself too thin, then Xbox is going to collapse onto itself, and then that'll be the demise of Big Phil.
Yeah, and he kind of mentioned that during the interview as well. It's just like they gotta kind of turn things around and he said, he didn't basically say my job is on the line, but he did make it seem like, hey, like we can't afford too many more of these problems, like at this point, or you're going to be talking to someone else. And
I'm sure they have stockholders. I'm sure they have investments, and these people are going to be like, listen, guy, we can't keep taking hits like this. So,
yeah.
I mean, not everybody's job is on the line, but in the real world, yeah, everybody's job is on the line every day.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And this is another one of those things to where I'm like, I also like wonder at this point because like they announced very quickly that they're doing a Xbox showcase, and that's happening around, I think it's what, June 11th, maybe bada bing stuns, and will correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'll probably hear that this week, but like, in June they're doing a Xbox showcase where they're basically laying it all out there and saying, hey, like these are the games that are coming in the near future, probably in the distant future, and everything in between. I feel like that showcase has to be a 10 out of 10 at this point. Like
Mm-hmm.
after Redfall, after Halo Infinite, after you've kind of been getting your teeth kicked in by other people, like other companies in the industry. And again, this isn't to say like, oh, PlayStation is better than Xbox. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is PlayStation has been managing its portfolio of catalog immensely better.
Mm-hmm.
And Nintendo is the same way. Like besides Pokemon, you haven't heard of a Nintendo game coming out and being like, "Hey, this is a buggy mess."
Yeah,
Like
no, it's true.
you haven't heard that. And besides, like PlayStation release some stinkers themselves. Like if we're being honest with ourselves, like Destruction All Stars was a PlayStation exclusive game. It didn't hit. It came
No,
out. People forgot about it. Bobby right now
yeah,
probably forgot that game existed until I brought it up.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, it is one of those things to where like no
I mean,
company's perfect.
no, their point system for buying the games, that's whatever that PlayStation, uh, I don't even know what it's called,
Oh, it's
but
terrible.
that that's terrible, right? It is what it is. The Forspoken game, I mean, that got bad reviews. It's just like I have no interest playing it. I saw a trailer, was like, nope, not for me. And then when the reviews came out, I'm like, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Hmm.
Stinker. It is what it is, man. Some like it happens, but they move on quickly from it.
Yeah, yeah. And
There's
then they
always something coming out that can make up for that loss, right?
exactly,
Immediately.
exactly. You beat me to the punch. They always have something around the corner to like and balance that out. And that's one of those things to where I'm like, Xbox needs a portfolio. They really need a staple. And then you got to be on top of these studios to put out like quality games. Like at this point, I'd almost like if I was Xbox, this is just me speaking, like if I'm Phil Spencer, I'm going to each studio trying to like making sure that I know what they're up to. And then we're going to do like, I hate performance reviews. I hate the term. I feel like it's always like the worst thing in the world. But what I will say is like we probably should do like a mock game analysis to where like
Mhm.
we get this in the hands of like five like under wraps gamers and such like that. We have our focus team, and then like every 3 months we see how does the focus team like this game at 3 month intervals, and then we kind of
Oh, I
just
agree. I agree. Yeah. I
and
mean,
we kind of
performance reviews, you get nervous, but if you do it correctly, there's always something you can improve on. But
yeah
you have to just highlight the things you can improve on because everyone's a human being, bro. And if you keep getting hit after hit after hit and you're not good enough, or this is not good, this is not good, you're gonna lose hope in yourself, and that's gonna show up in everything you do. So you have to do it where, listen, this isn't really that well done. However, I like XYZ. How can we continue this flow? Right? And then you get them to think and be creative and fix their little issues and continue what they're doing. Now, sometimes, listen, this is just really, really bad, guys. Like, I know you did XYZ, and I appreciate all the work you did, but this is a mess. Like, how can we fix this?
yeah
And if it's really that bad, just scrap it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Stop wasting time. It's done. Move next one. Bam. Just get it out. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Sometimes it's just bad enough for like even you have to be honest with yourself. Like, this is really going far,
Yeah,
far down.
yeah, I have to. I'm like, and if I'm honest, if I'm being honest with you, like, I don't see why Xbox doesn't go to like a company like Marvel or DC, especially DC, and say like, hey, we want to work on one of your licensed games. Like, we have like this studio, and this studio, and we're promised we'll put out a banger title. You just let us work on this type of game, and like, there should be no reason in the world why they don't have like their own like I'm not saying exactly like Spider-Man, but their own version of what Spider-Man is for the PS4, like their own title.
100%.
Yeah, they should have, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like Spider-Man. It can be a Doctor Strange, or even if like they like Marvel says, hey, we're sticking with PlayStation this go around. Like DC's right there. Like you should be able to go in there and say like, hey, I know you have things going on with Justice League, which by the way looks like it is absolutely like poo poo at this point as
Mm-hmm.
well. But like you should be able to go in there and say like, hey, y'all are doing something with Justice League. Y'all are maybe doing something with Batman and Wonder Woman. Let us work on Flash. Like, well, let us work on like a Superman game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Like I don't get why they don't do that. But I also like one thing I don't get with Xbox right now is like I don't necessarily get why like a lot of their studios announce these games and then we hear nothing about it. Like Perfect Dark was announced last year, like a couple of years ago. We've heard nothing about that game. Indiana Jones was announced, which is the licensed game I was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen nothing of that game.
Nope.
We haven't seen anything in Fable for about 2.5 years at this point. We haven't seen anything from what is another game? Hellblade. Like Hellblade, the
Oh
new
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that one was rumored to
Well, I
be
think there
like,
was. I think I saw something about it, unless
yeah,
I'm
you're right. I
not
mean, it
correct,
was like
but not like enough. Like, oh wow, like I kind of forgot about it
yeah, it was in
actually.
that conference I mentioned. You know where we
Mm-hmm.
talked about like the 12 month like
Oh yeah,
announcement
yeah,
that
yeah.
they did.
Mm-hmm.
It was in that same conference, and but like we've seen that game like 5 times now. Where's like a release date for that game, or at least like,
Like hype could also hurt you
mhm,
because if there's a game coming out that's going to blow people's minds, and you announce it, there's the hypeness is ready to level. Like, oh my god, I'm ready to play this. If you
yeah,
wait too long, then I don't care now because I'm over it, right? But then I might get excited again as it comes out. But now, if the game isn't good, then people will be even more upset because the hype was so real.
and
So
Redfall was
they
like that.
announce games. Yeah, they announce games way too early.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't even announce anything unless it's like 30%, 40% in.
no, yeah,
So
for
you can
sure.
announce it and then fix it. Like, I have an idea. Bam. Okay, great. Where's the gameplay? Where's the footage? Oh, we don't know what it's going to be yet. So why mention it, bro?
Yeah, it's almost like Xbox is constantly playing catch up. It's like they want excitement, they want buzz. Hey, we got to get people invested in Game Pass, and we got to get everyone excited about the platform. So we need something to announce. Hey, let's announce this, and this, even though we've just now come up with the concept. You know,
Yeah, it's true. No, it's wild. It's wild.
yeah, and let's be real about it. We don't know what PlayStation is working on, like outside of Wolverine, like for the next year. Like,
Yeah, which is just also wild, but I'd rather have that
yeah, yeah,
than a mystery game that you just announced. Well, what's it going to be about? Oh, we're not really sure yet, but there's an idea.
yeah. We still
All
don't
right,
know
thanks.
the vast majority of what and Xbox I think is a little bit worse in this regard because like they've been acquiring so many studios over the last like I would say almost 2 years at this point. Like so many studios have been acquired by them. Then now you're asking, or at least your fan base is asking, like, hey, great, you've acquired all these studios. What are they working on, and how soon can
Mhm.
we start getting these games?
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't get it.
yeah, yeah. like our European office wanted us to talk about the Super Mario game, but like I'm gonna be honest with you, or the Super Mario movie, but I'm gonna be honest with you. We're just gonna note that it is the Super Mario movie crossed 1 billion. Like congratulations to the team over there.
Yeah,
Shout out to all of them. But like
I want
Xbox,
to see it. I do want to see it.
it does look fun. It does look fun. I haven't seen it
And
yet either.
I have a note. Anybody who wants to see it, my friend saw it with his
Uh-huh.
kids. He said, "Stay till after the credits. Something really cool happens."
Okay.
So if you haven't seen it yet, stay till the credits.
All right, so you heard it from Bobby first and
Hmm.
Bobby's friend. Stay after the credits if you haven't seen it. That said,
Yeah.
like one last question I want to ask you about this Xbox situation because that is I feel like the biggest story in all of games
Hmm.
right now. Like Xbox needs a win right now. Like, what would you do? What would you do in the next couple months to give Xbox gamers a win that they drastically want?
I mean, well, you got to find out what do the Xbox fans want? Like, what do they look forward to getting the Xbox, right? Like, if you're a PlayStation person, it's mostly because of single narrative solo experiences. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is the Xbox gamer craving? What is he looking forward to? You got to find out that interest, and then you have to get something of that nature and release it. Just don't release a game because it's a new game. I want to release something new. Like there has to be something that they're craving or they're lacking that they're looking forward
It seems like
to get it out there.
It seems like they think Starfield is supposed to be that game.
I mean, and that's fine, and it could be. But then, what's the 2 games before that, right? And what's the 2 games after that? Because if
Yeah.
you don't have a bridge, okay, and that's your only stud, right? And then you have nothing else to go with it or connect it to or balance it out, and that thing isn't holding steady, then you don't have no bridge, man. It's just done.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, it feels like there's the largest pressure in the world right now on Starfield to be good.
Oh, and maybe bro, it's maybe it's too much, bro. Like it's a lot of like if you're riding on this one thing and it does not come out of the ring, like Ultimate Warrior running down the ring, shaking the ropes. If you don't have that, man, it is going to be a complete disaster.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like at this point, I'm like, if Starfield doesn't come out and it's not a 10 out of 10 or at least a 9, a lot of people are going to be looking like this was a failure and this is what we paid $1 billion for Bethesda for, and it's gonna be rough. Like that, just like you think this story is bad with Redfall. Redfall don't even have any like Redfall didn't even have any hype behind it. Starfield is supposed
No,
to be the chosen one.
then you
Uh,
got Bethesda. What's their last 3 4 games like?
Ooh, Fallout 76.
Well, that was basically that's third party, obviously, but that didn't do that good.
Yeah,
Okay, then you had what Fallout 4.
yeah, which came out to a mixed response. I would probably say, it didn't necessarily set the world on fire.
Hmm.
I won't say that's a bad game, but I will say in
No, but it's
compare,
not like what you. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And didn't they have the Wolfenstein?
yeah, Wolfenstein,
I mean, the part 2 was amazing,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that was good. Okay, what
The next
else?
generation, I think, was like I can't remember what the next generation Wolfenstein was. Young Blood, right?
Yeah, Youngblood. No, Youngblood didn't do that good.
No. So yeah, so I have the list right here. I'm going in reverse order from its release dates. Hi-Fi Rush came out in 2023. Ghostwire Tokyo came out in 2022. Deathloop came out, for PlayStation. And by the way, Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop came out initially for PlayStation. Everyone,
Hmm.
um, Deathloop in 2021. Doom, Doom Eternal was 2020, but
That was good.
yeah, that was decent. Rage 2 was another one that came out and kind of just absolute came out like a wet fart in the wind and
Hmm.
didn't do it didn't do anything. It didn't do
Yeah.
anything. The Evil Within 2 came out like it was Fallout 76 in 2018, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus 2017. Also 2017 was The Evil Within 2, Dishonored 2, and Prey. So they've been dropping games like at a
Yeah,
very, very high rate, but none of these
and you
games are
see,
like
like none of them were like fantastic.
no, no.
They were they were
I
good. Like a lot of them have there's a fan base. I wouldn't say they're necessarily bad games, but they're not like get on the hype train.
yeah, you're right. None of these are like like other than Deathloop. I don't think Deathloop reviewed very well, but I don't think it sold gangbusters. I think was the problem
No,
with that
no, it
one.
didn't.
Yeah, is like
So it's
none of
like that's what you're riding on.
yeah, yeah,
Like
and
this is kind of nerve wracking. Like to be honest, like if I'm not saying you're gonna fire Big Phil, but like, bro, if this doesn't come out, then who's responsible for this mess? You gotta think.
the video
I
game
mean,
industry.
unfortunately, he'll be the fall. He'll be the fall guy,
Oh yeah, for
regardless.
sure. For sure. I mean, he is the head of Xbox and he's also the poster boy, so to speak. He's who you think about when you think of Xbox. I'm gonna be honest here. Like I know this isn't sports or anything like that, but like in the sports world, if a GM and you could speak to this on the soccer side of things, but like if a GM has high expectations or like a high budget and such like that, and you just like went out and required like a Ronaldo type of player in
Hmm.
soccer and such like that, and you still come out and you're threatening to be relegated in soccer, like heads are gonna roll, like legitimately,
So
like
here's what I don't want to start. I don't want to start a NFL war.
yeah.
However,
uh
I think most people either really hate Dallas, which I do, or
hmm
you love Dallas. Okay.
Okay,
So Jerry Jones is the mastermind behind Dallas Cowboys.
yeah, for sure.
Dallas Cowboys were amazing. They were amazing in the 80s. They're amazing in the 90s. Their last Super Bowl was on VHS. Okay. If you want to
Yeah,
watch it, you gotta go to VHS tape. But he always is acquiring top talent. He's always trying to get the best of the best. And for some reason, they get to the playoffs, they just can't do it. And after a while, it's like, is it the talent's fault? Is it the coach's fault? Because he had coaches, he fired coaches, he had the best quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, defensive ends, linebackers. His roster should be Super Bowl winner every year. However, they just can't seem to make a playoff win. After a while, you have to think to yourself, whose fault is it? It's Jerry Jones's fault.
yeah,
If you cannot produce, then we have to go a different route. And I'm not saying Jerry Jones is doing anything wrong because he is acquiring the talent. But what is it that is stopping this team from achieving what they want to achieve? Okay. They have the money, they have the superstars. You want to play for Dallas because Dallas Cowboys, America's team. You want to go to Dallas. Okay. I'm a Giant fan. We have been trash for a long time. We're not gonna get any better. We're not get any better with our GM and everybody. It just needs to be overhauled. We all know it. We have patience. The Jets are so desperate. They just got
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
Hmm.
That's not gonna make a Super Bowl. Sorry. That's not. But whatever. It is what it is. Okay. The hype train's there. A successful team, everybody has to be successful. And unfortunately, if there's an issue, coach gets fired or whatever gets fired. Jerry Jones is like Phil Spencer. Like you're getting the talent, you're getting the teams, and you're getting all the game producers, the developers, right? You have this whole goal of what you want to do. It's out there. Everybody knows you're very transparent. For the fan, that's amazing. Like I know what Xbox is trying to do. I understand their goal. Why haven't we got there? Okay. This is
Yeah.
the playoffs now. This is the playoffs. You're going to be in there. This is your big bang. You're Super Bowl ready, baby. This game doesn't work. I think Phil Spencer's going to be in serious trouble. Either he's going to, I don't know, resign, or the stockholders are going to get pissed off, or I mean, he's going to have a change of a new era of Xbox. Is going to have to start.
Man, you're right. Like this game has huge ramifications with it. And it's funny, like normally I'm the big NFL guy, or at least, American sports guy. You're more on the European side of things. So that's why I use the soccer analogy. I like how you kind of flipped everything on its head there. Keep these people on their toes. Um but
Never know your next move.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So, I like I'm gonna move on with we've been talking about Xbox for a while. This George would have already been like waving the white flag and been like, hey guys, we gotta move things along here. But I digress, George. You shouldn't have taken off for the coronation because the American office is running the ship right now.
We're running it. We're running it wild, bro.
For sure. So, but with all that said, let's talk about the new releases of the week. It's time to take a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot. What's nestled in between some counterfeit. We're going to call them diapers because it's the American office. We're not going to call them nappies here. Well, what's nestled in some counterfeit diapers and a dodgy, well, we're not even going to say dodgy. We're an American office and a sketchy looking copy of the Battle for Endor this week. So these are the new release highlights for this week, May 8th through May 14th, 2023. Listeners, these are out on digital or physical or will be by the time this podcast is in your feed, but could be and probably will be region dependent. So, Bobby, without further ado, let's take it away. What games are you looking forward to playing and what's coming out this week?
Listen, there's only one major bang coming out this week.
It doesn't matter about anything else,
Doesn't
to
matter.
be honest.
You got another Fisherman's Tale. Listen, whatever, bro. Okay, it's about a fisherman. It's an award-winning sequel of The Fisherman's Tale. Never even heard of that. It's a VR experience puzzle. All right, listen, no offense. See ya. Then you got TT Isles of Man, Ride the Edge 3. Didn't even know there was a Ride the Edge 2. Okay, so that doesn't really matter. See ya.
What
Bye.
does matter, though, Bobby?
The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, on the Switch, May 12th. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's all about. I pre-ordered the game. I hope it comes on time because every time I get a pre-order, it's always the next day. That's just New York, I guess. But I am on the hype train. I am very excited about this. I loved Breath of the Wild, which I was confused on. I did not know it was a Wii release game originally. I thought it was a Switch game.
No, it was a Wii U game.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed, bro. That's how much I did not know about it. When my friend got the Switch and he was playing Zelda, I was sold. I love Zelda games. I just love them. So I gravitated to this game. I got a custom skin for my Switch of Breath of the Wild on it with my own name on it. Like I am so ready for this game to come out.
When's before like Tears of the Kingdom drops and everything like that? Before you dive into it, when's the last time you touched your Switch? I'm just curious. Man. I'm just curious.
When did Metroid come out?
Like Metroid Dread or Metroid Prime Remaster?
No, Dread.
Dread was last year, I want to say.
Okay, then that's it. I took it to work a couple times. I played it when we were busy. I had to stay over my job for a few days, so I brought that. But I haven't played it since. And since Eva's been busy now too, like she stopped playing Animal Crossing, so the Switch is collecting dust. Yeah, so now it's time to undust it. So I'm ready for it. I hope it works. I haven't even taken it out of the dock.
So you're gonna have to do a test run real quick.
So this is a test run. Actually, I lied. I'm sorry. I think it was a month ago. We talked about the toilet paper game.
Yo, you did play it.
I played it. Listen, it's stupid. It's funny, but it's basically what do you call it? I forgot what the term is called, but it's like, all right, it's like that's his thing. It's funny for a little bit. You play it with your friend, and after a while, you just forget about it. You're never gonna play it again.
Almost like shovelware, basically.
Basically, yeah. Like, and that's it. But that's not even considered playing. I just want to try this game out because it was hilarious on the show. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, yeah, it's been about a year, bro. Like that's sad.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I haven't had a whole lot of like reasons to pick up and play my Switch more so than any other console, and it does feel old at this point. Like I desperately want a new Nintendo system. Like I would love to see what a fast version of a Nintendo console would look like like in 2023 or 2024 at this point. Mm-hmm. I would love to see what they can do with the new technology that we've gotten since.
They can do it, man.
Out. Yeah.
There's this artist, I forgot on Instagram. I'll put it in the Discord if I remember. Basically, he made like what if Mario was on PlayStation or Xbox, right? And how they would look, and Zelda, and like all these games look amazing. Like Can't Nintendo just do that?
Yeah.
Let's just get it done.
I even saw like someone they did a dodgy thing and showed what Breath of the Wild would look like running on like a high-end PC at 4K and such like that. It was gorgeous. Absolutely like
Sure
gorgeous.
was.
And then he like did a side-by-side comparison of like what it looks like when it's not running on PC, the regular version of it, and it looked like you were playing a game from the 1990s. It looks bad in comparison. It really does. It looks murky. It looks like somebody smeared like grease over like a television screen and you're just watching it
Yeah.
through that. It's bad. But anyways, like so that Stingray doesn't come out in Hondas. I will say another Fisherman's Tale comes out PC VR, PSVR 2, the Quest, May 11th. E.T. Islands of Man Ride on Edge 3 comes out on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on May 11th. And of course, Tears of the Kingdom comes out for the Nintendo Switch on May the 12th. So for everyone looking forward to these games, this is the platforms you can find those on. I myself am probably going to be looking forward to Breath of the Wild more so out of that lineup than any of the other games. I can see George playing another Fisherman's Tale though, Bobby.
100%, especially with the VR.
Oh yeah, VR, and it's about a fisherman, and basically has some puzzle
It's
aspects.
relaxing. Yeah, he'll be on it.
All the way on it. He's played a game about canoeing at this point.
Exactly.
I wouldn't throw this past him at this
Wouldn't
point.
put it past him. Nope.
No. So anyways, like that is all it for our show, other than the fact that, we got to talk about what this guy, this beast, this fiend Stingray looks like to us. What does Stingray look like to you this week, Bobby? The American Stingray, by the way.
Yeah, the American Stingray. Well, first of all, he's got that long goatee that connects down to his throat. Okay. He has the new hairstyle. It's like the mohawk, but it has that weird fade to the back.
Almost like the mohawk mullet.
Almost like a mohawk mullet. Yep. But a clean fade on number 2, a 0 to a 2 fade. Okay.
I like that.
Yep, and he just has on his Lakers shirt and a pair of Adidas pants.
I like that. So he's celebrating the NBA playoffs right now. He's
definitely excited. It's a LeBron jersey, so he's ready for it. I guess I'm assuming he's a Lakers fan, obviously. Jersey.
Yeah. It's been a fun time if you're a Lakers fan.
It sure has.
So that's exciting. So yeah, I am I'm right there with you. I'm gonna follow the train. I'm very much loving the NBA playoffs right now. Everything we're seeing. It's been a very fun time. I hope the Phoenix Suns get their teeth kicked down the throat against Denver right now. So yeah. I'm seeing the Ray as in the cowboy suit. As many people know, I see the Ray as an upside down, like a person who's built like an upside down bowling pin. And I'm seeing what I like to call Country Ray, his step cousin from the boonies over here. I think Country Ray today is just wearing some overalls, very similar to what George normally wears when he records with us. He wears some blue overalls, and then he's got a cowboy hat, and he's got a cowboy hat, and unfortunately he can't afford any boots or anything like that, so he's just wearing some Sperry's. He looks very discombobulated. He looks very discombobulated.
Oh wow.
But yeah, everyone, before we go though, Bobby, do you have anything you want to shout out, anything you want to plug? Where can the good people find you?
They can find me over at the_chronicles_of_a_gamer. I think I have to stop the underscores, but I love them.
I think so.
But I love them. I'm over there. And then my PSN, it's handsome_Rob_7. There's more underscores. You can find me over there on Instagram and obviously on the podcast and the Discord.
All right. What are you going to be playing, though?
Well, I started playing We Were Here Forever, my boy Marlon. It's a puzzle game. It's you only co-op. You can't play it solo. You need a friend. The first 2 levels, puzzles were interesting and fun. Now I'm like, what are the hints? Because I had to go to YouTube, bro. It's getting very, very complicated.
Oh wow!
And now it's getting a little frustrating.
Okay.
Then there's one with a time limit. So right now we're stuck on I guess the 3rd stage. You have 8 minutes to do this concoction, and I just don't understand it. So we're gonna try to figure that out, and then Jedi Survivor all the way to the bank.
All right. So
What about you?
yeah, I was gonna ask you what's gonna
Mhm.
happen with Jedi Survivor come May 12th. Are you still gonna be able to play Jedi Survivor when Tears of the Kingdom is out, or what's going to go? Which one's gonna get pushed to the wayside?
Well, I have a plan.
Okay.
I'm gonna play Jedi Survivor in my house when I'm home,
Okay.
alone or my own time. I'm gonna play Breath of the Wild. I'm gonna play Tears of the Kingdom when either Eva's watching one of her many shows that I don't have interest in on the
Okay.
couch with my
The
headphones.
Bachelor. Okay.
Yep, exactly. Or like going to or at work for lunch.
Okay. Okay. This sounds
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
in it.
plan.
I'm because I gotta have a plan there. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to be also I am going to be playing Metroid Prime Remastered this week until the lead up for Tears of the Kingdom. I've never played a Metroid game before, so people tell me
Oh,
that's
really?
amazing. No, I've never played one. Never played
Oh,
one.
wow.
People tell me it's amazing, so I'm gonna check it out this week. I'm going to be playing polishing off Survivor, and then I just beat Horizon Burning Shores, so I will probably try to wrap up a couple of
How was
trophies
that?
in that. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't think that it's a good $20 DLC. It's if you liked Horizon
Okay.
Forbidden West, then it's more Horizon Forbidden West, but with a better, more nuanced, focused story. Like I will say, one of the feedbacks and probably like the critiques of Horizon Forbidden West was like the story was a little bit all over the place, not as focused as it probably could have been. This is a very much narrowed down, focused, nuanced story, and I think they nailed what they were going for here versus what they were attempting to in Forbidden West. This feels like it probably should have been the end of Forbidden West, to be honest.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I think they did a really really good job with Burning Shores. That said, yeah, I'll be playing that, and I got a lot of indie games that I always get reviews for, like review access for, so everyone be on the lookout for that. But in the meanwhile, you can find me at Sebastian what is it, Sebastian SDM3 on the Twitter and such like that. You can also find me at the Single Player Experience, like the Single Player Experience podcast, the premier podcast for single player gamers to find out about good single player games to play. On that podcast this week, we've had 1.2 million followers from our main guest of this week, and that's Lamar Wilson. He is an unboxing legend. He's was one of the first people who got his hands on like Xbox Project Scorpio and such like that. We talked about his experiences and such
Wow,
like
that's
that.
amazing.
Yeah, we talked about his followers and how he's amassed millions of followers and different things like that. So if you definitely want to hear about how you should up your game as a content creator, definitely check out that episode. And if you are also looking for dope video game recommendations, I just highly recommend you check out that podcast. In the meanwhile though, I've been Sebastian, that's been Bobby, and before we just throw it out and say we're out, like George has sent me numerous amount of notes and talking about like, hey, do this very unique, this very outro that we do here. I don't know. Do the American outro need to be something different than the counterfeit nappies type of outro than they normally do in the European side of things?
No, man. Like we're together, but we're
Okay.
also separate from America, so we could just rock it out, man.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do this though to keep the tradition alive. I will say there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. We've been the American Office UCP. We'll be here from time to time. You can definitely check us out
Mhm.
here. Definitely check out the main show. If you like what you heard, leave a review, comment, check us out in the Discord as well. The link to all that would be in the description. I've been Sebastian. That's been Bobby, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.